Welcome to the More Than Fitness podcast.
Hello, podcast friends, and welcome back to Minisode number 75 on the More Than Fitness podcast. It is a gloomy day in New York City right now. I hope whenever you are listening to this, it is a nice sunny day outside, or maybe you like rainy, gloomy days, because I don't discriminate with weather choices. I think that rainy days can be just as beautiful as sunny days. Right. Anyway, today's minisode, the topic is going to be 3 reasons you don't have the body you want. So a little bit of tough love in this one, but I think that this topic is going to, and then the applications, practical applications that I'm going to give will be helpful for you guys and also for myself, because I make these minisodes and give this quote unquote advice for myself as much as I do for you guys. So let's go ahead and get into the first reason you don't have the body you want is because you don't have clarity on what you want and when you want to achieve it by. So I think clarity is just the number one thing, because if you don't have the initial starting point and you don't have a clear, at least somewhat of an idea on what the end point looks like, what being or what accomplishing this goal looks like, then I think that you never really know if you're making progress or that you're even heading in the right direction in the first place. So I think that the first question you kind of need to ask yourself is like, what do you want? Whenever it comes to your fitness goals, are you trying to lose body fat? Are you trying to gain muscle? Are you trying to do both? And if you are trying to do both, which one do you want to bias more? Do you want to bias muscle building more? Do you want to lose fat more? How long do you want to do it for? 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks? What kind of time length are you giving yourself? What commitment are you going to choose in order to reach this goal? And then also, I think the big bonus points here is why. Why do you want that goal in the first place? And Precision Nutrition, who's a great fitness company who does great work, they have the 5 whys challenge that they like to give to their clients and then other coaches that they coach themselves. But the 5 whys just kind of gives you a little bit more clarity on, besides the surface level, I just want to gain muscle and I just want to lose fat. So the example that they give, I'll run through it real quick. So the first why they ask is, why do I want to change my eating and exercise habits? The answer is because I want to lose weight. And then they say, why do I want to lose weight? Because I want my clothes to fit better. Why do I want my clothes to fit better? Because I want to feel proud of who I am. Why do I want to feel proud of who I am? Living in a way that makes me proud to be me means living a long, healthy life. And then lastly, why is it important to me to live a long, healthy life? There's more I want to accomplish, and I'm scared I won't be around for my kids when they need me the most, right? So those are kind of the 5 whys that you can really dig a little bit deeper beyond the surface level of, okay, I just want to gain muscle and lose fat. It's like, okay, why? It's like, because I want to feel more confident. It's like, okay, why? So just going down that rabbit hole, it can kind of push yourself a little bit deeper to kind of understand, okay, are you trying to lose fat and gain muscle, or is there something deeper going on that could be a better indication of if this goal is a success in the first place? So I think that is super important. And I also think it's important to have clarity, because I think too many times I see people putting their efforts in too many directions at one time. So for an example would be, they're trying to be strong, they're trying to be muscular, they're trying to be athletic, they're trying to be flexible, and they're trying to be shredded all at the same time. And what happens here is that you get mediocre results or no results in all of those categories. Instead, what I would say is focus on 1 or 2, put all of your energy and efforts towards that goal for a certain period of time with a specific endpoint, right? Because you need to know, was I successful? Like, what does success look like? So instead of pointing my efforts in so many different directions and trying to do everything at one time, maybe spend 4, 8, 12 weeks in one singular direction with all your effort, try and make really big headway there, and then you can move on to something else. It's like life is very long. You don't have to be shredded, muscular, athletic, all of these different things all at the same time. You can focus on one or the other, and then as time goes on, you can refine different categories as you see fit. So I think that is definitely important. Make sure that you're not pointing in too many directions with your efforts. And then lastly, my last point on this first reason is going to be that you haven't determined the trade-offs of what this goal will require, right? So again, a point of gaining clarity is understanding that, sure, you may want to get shredded and be jacked and work out 6 days a week and count all your macros and calories and everything and be super perfect with your diet and exercise. However, you have 2 kids at home that you're going to have to spend time with after work, and you only have like 30 minutes 2 or 3 times a week to fit in to reach your fitness goals. So it's like you have to set expectations accordingly with what you are or are not willing to get up. You guys have heard me talk about this many times. You have to figure out what trade-offs you're willing to accept. You have to figure out that fitness and life balance. It's like, okay, if you want to consistently go get drinks and eat out and things like that several times a week with friends and things, it's like, okay, that's fine. But just make sure that you know that your fitness goals you're not going to reach those fitness goals as quickly as you may hope, right? The more sacrifice, this is why people who go on bodybuilding diets or have to prepare for bodybuilding shows, they have to sacrifice so much. They have to sacrifice almost everything because they have to make sure that they monitor their nutrition. They have to make sure they never miss a workout. Of course, this is assuming they want to do well in the bodybuilding competition, but they're super strict with everything. But that means that their life balance side, it has to suffer a little bit. And so what I'm saying is that pick a goal that sounds good to you, that sounds reasonable to you, and then understand and kind of reverse engineer, work backwards. Like, okay, what am I going to have to give up so that I can achieve that goal? If that's not worth it to you, that's okay. There's no wrong answers here, but it's just set your expectations accordingly. Dial things down a little bit so that you can make sure that you have a lofty goal, but not a lofty enough goal that it's going to make you miserable in the meantime. So that is the first reason. You don't have clarity on what you want and when you want to achieve it by. So ask yourself, go back, listen, reread those questions or re-listen to those questions and those statements and figure out a little bit more on the actual goal and why you're trying to achieve that goal and when you're trying to achieve that goal by in the first place. Okay. The second point is going to be, or the second reason you don't have the body you want, words are difficult, guys. The second reason you don't have the body you want is because you don't have a plan to achieve it, right? So the first reason is you have to gain that clarity, right? So now you know what you want, you know why you want it, and you know when you want to achieve it by. Well, now you've got to kind of figure out, okay, what is my plan from taking me from A to B, right? From the start to the finish. So what is your workout approach going to be? And again, considering everything in your life. Again, if you have a super busy schedule, if you work really long hours and you maybe have a kid at home, or you spend a lot of time with your significant other and you like having other hobbies and things, it's like, if you can only go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, that's fine. But just make sure that you don't try and find a workout plan that's 5 or 6 days a week and just set yourself up for failure from the very beginning. I think too many people think they can't get great progress on 2 or 3 days a week, and that's just simply not true. What ends up happening is they're following a 4 to 5 to 6 day per week plan, and then they feel like a failure because they only get to the gym 2 to 3 times per week. And they're only doing like half of that program in the first place. It's like, instead, figure out how many days you can for sure go to the gym and then optimize a plan around that. I would even go more on the conservative side. If you think you can make it to the gym 3 days a week, but you're not sure, make a plan for 2 days a week for sure, because you know you can absolutely do that. And then as you build that habit in, as you maintain more consistency, then you can turn up that dial a little bit more. But don't set yourself up for failure from the very beginning. So yeah, what's your workout approach? The second part is going to be what's your nutrition approach? So are you going to count calories? Are you going to count macros? How are you going to figure out how many calories and macros you need to eat on a regular basis? Are you going to do a habit-based approach instead of that? Are you going to have some daily process goals? So I want to do this, this, and this every single day, and this will hopefully lead to me reaching my outcome goal that way, right? There's no wrong answers here, but you have to have some type of nutrition approach, whether that is something like counting calories or having those daily goals every single day, or if it's some type of guidelines or rules or however you work best. But just remember that you need to make sure that the nutrition approach you pick isn't something like a 30 or 60 day fix. So it's like, this is where saying like, oh, I'm just going to do keto for the next 30 days to reach my goal. It's like, cool. But then after the 30 days are up, and if you can't maintain that diet for months on end, well, you're just going to be right back where you started within a month's time whenever you go off, quote unquote, off your diet, off of keto, and you're right back where you started. So that's stupid, right? That's not a good idea. So make sure that your nutrition approach is sustainable. And then lastly, how do you know it's working? How do you know your plan is working? What are you doing to monitor your progress? So having some indicators on, okay, my weight is going down by 1 pound per week. My goal is to lose 16 pounds total. So it's going to take me 16 weeks at about a pound per week to reach my goal. And that's, being generous. Losing a pound a week is great progress. So you could say losing 15 pounds in 20 weeks. That could be a more realistic goal because there's life happens, you slip up, shit goes on. So giving yourself some type of parameters to work within, and then also making sure that you have some type of indicators to measure, okay, I am getting stronger on my bench press as this time goes on. And it could even be less than that. It doesn't have to be just like, okay, I'm losing a pound a week, I'm doing this. It's like, if 1 month you did, let's say 15 workouts in a month, well, the goal for this week could be to do 20 workouts in a month, right? And that could even be too high for you. You could say 18 workouts in a month, right? Whatever it is, figure out some type of baseline, just consistency goal that can be really helpful. If you're just like, okay, I want to make sure that I go to the gym 3 times per week, every single week. Well, that could be your goal in itself. You don't have to like measure how much your strength is increasing, even though it'd probably be a good idea. But if you just want to do kind of make sure you're tracking something, which again is going to be better than nothing and probably what you're doing now, having some type of consistency goal of, okay, I did this this week, or with nutrition, making sure that you wake up and weigh yourself daily, or every other day or something, or making sure that you have protein with every single meal, and then tallying up at the end of the week, okay, you had these 3 goals you wanted to hit every single day. How consistent were you with that? And then at the end of the month or at the end of the week, you can kind of reflect back and you're like, okay, on this day I screwed up, on this day I screwed up. And you can kind of notice your weaknesses on, okay, well, it was really difficult for me to eat protein with every meal on this day. And it's probably because, I had this meeting, or this day is really long for me. I have extra work, or the kids have to go somewhere, or, I have this, I go get drinks with friends because we're watching the game. It's like figuring out where those weaknesses are. You can point those out and then adjust those for the future. But you need to figure out, how do you know that your plan is working in the first place? Okay, we are 13 minutes in. And then the last thing is going to be, the last reason you don't have the body you want is because you don't have someone to hold you accountable. You have no consequences for following your plan or not. And so what I would say is, try and find a friend, or some type of accountability buddy to either go through the same program with you, with the same goals that you have, and you can compete against each other, or you can just support each other and both try and say, okay, by this date, we're going to lose 10 pounds and here's how we're going to do it. Here's how we're going to measure it. And so let's go, let's push each other. Let's try and hold each other accountable. I think that can absolutely work. I think a better goal or a better task, and of course I'm biased, is that you should consider hiring a coach. And I don't think everyone should hire a coach. And I don't even think everybody should try and work with me necessarily, because I have people apply to work with me because I'm not a good fit for everybody. However, a couple questions you can ask yourself if you think you should hire a coach, or if you're thinking in your mind, maybe that would be a good idea for me to do. I think the first question you should ask yourself is, how important are these fitness goals to you? Like, are you really bad off and you're really trying to get your shit together? Or are you just like, okay, I need to, and it could be either way. Like, you could be like, okay, actually, you know what? I just really want to push myself for 12 to 24 weeks and reach this goal that I've been trying to reach for the past year or so. And it is really important to me. It's not necessarily how bad off you are or how much weight you have to lose, because that's kind of dictated by you. You can determine how important this is to you. But if it is something that you've been working really hard at, and it's something that you may think about on a regular basis, and it bugs you on a regular basis, well, then it's probably a good idea that you make some type of change to what you're doing, because what you're doing is not working, and you care about this actually working for you. I think the second question to ask yourself is, how much do you know on your own, and how much time are you willing to invest in learning in the correct approach? So are you a super busy person and like you don't have time to go research about how many calories you should eat or how many macros you should eat and how to follow through with that and how to monitor progress? Like, if everything that I just told you sounds very work heavy and you're like, I don't want to do any of that, well, then it might be a good idea to outsource this to someone else who can do all of that work for you and take out the guesswork, and then you just execute on the plan. But if you have tons of free time and maybe you want to go and really invest and learn in stuff, buy textbooks, buy courses, whatever, and learn on your own, I think that's cool. That's totally fine too. Maybe hiring a coach right now isn't the best choice for you. I think the obvious question, the last thing, is, how much are you willing to spend to solve this problem for you? So again, if you're super busy, if this is something that you've been thinking about for a very long time, and it's bugging you on a regular basis, and you're just like, if I could pay someone X amount of money and then this problem could be solved for me forever, then I would absolutely do it. It's like, that's probably a good indicator that you're in the ballpark and should consider actually hiring someone to help you out with this. So how much are you willing to spend to solve this problem? Okay. And I think that is the 3 reasons. 1 is you don't have clarity on what you want and when you want to achieve it by. 2 is you don't have a plan for achieving it. And number 3, you don't have someone to hold you accountable. Again, we are very shitty at holding ourselves accountable and rationalizing with ourselves. And so if you do need help, please don't hesitate to reach out. There's a link in the description to work with me if you do want to apply for coaching, and we can talk a little bit further. Okay, and that is it for Minisode number 75 on the More Than Fitness podcast. As always, thank you so much for listening and for watching. See ya.